Welcome back to This Week in Football, presented by Geico. 8 weeks in the books for the NFL season means it's time to hand out some midseason awards and acknowledgments. And, you know, since we are a glass-half-full show here, when we talk about biggest surprises from the first 8 weeks, we will start on the positive side of surprises, Gary.
Well, I think you'd have to look at the Kansas City Chiefs. Now, they were a team that finished 2-14 last year, and they're the only undefeated team in the league. They got through the first half of the season at 8-0. Now, I know Andy Reid took over a team with a lot of Pro Bowl players, but still, they only won 2 games last year. And if they keep it going, you keep in mind the record for the best turnaround. Peyton Manning's first season in Indianapolis, 3-13. His second year, 13-3. Kansas City's got a shot at breaking that record.
They have a real shot at that. How about you, Ross? What's your tremendous treat this year?
Well, I didn't get the memo that the biggest surprise was supposed to be positive, because my biggest surprise is just how poorly Tom Brady's played. But I can spin that into a positive and say, but they're still 6-2. With all the injuries, all the free agent defections, the Aaron Hernandez situation, this is the worst I've ever seen Tom Brady play by far. The statistics bear that out. I won't bore you, but it's not even close across the board. And it's not just all these young receivers. He's not playing well. They've lost good players at every level of the defense. They've been banged up, and yet they're 6-2. That is that's the biggest surprise, that you basically lost almost all your good players. And by far your best player is having by far his worst year ever, yet you're 6-2 in first place.
So we're putting that in the positive surprise category then for
with a little dig at Brady.
All right, fair enough. Gary, how about it? Is there a negative surprise for you from this season thus far?
Well, Chip Kelly's offense in Philadelphia, it looked completely unstoppable for the first half of the first game against Washington. And then starting with the second half of that game and through the first half of the season, I'm waiting to see something that tells me, you know, what was the big deal? I mean, what?
You saw it in week 1. I don't know that you're going to see it again.
I saw it in the first half of week. And, you know, the last 2 weeks against Dallas and the Giants, 2 teams that, you know, teams have scored on this year. Yeah. Philadelphia does not have an offensive touchdown. Now, I know the Giants' defense has been playing better the last 2.5 games, but, you know, they gave a bunch of points early on in the season, and for Philadelphia not to even get a touchdown against them or the Cowboys, and the Cowboys have given up huge points in a lot of games. I mean, what's the big deal about Chip Kelly?
Yeah, I'm not sure that Matt Barkley is going to be the person to unearth the big deal moving forward either. Ross, how about for you? I know you took a little dig at Tom Brady. Do you have a full dig you want to take at somebody from the first half?
No, it's teams. Okay. And the biggest surprise for me is that here we are at the midway point, and there's 4 or 5 teams that are essentially already out of it. You know, blue blood teams, the Pittsburgh Steelers, teams that you thought would be Super Bowl contenders, the Houston Texans, the Atlanta Falcons. Maybe the Giants and the Redskins are still in it just because the NFC East is so bad this year. But even those teams feel like they're out of it. That's rare in the NFL. I mean, you talk about parity in the NFL. Any team can win any given Sunday. Teams are in it until the end. Yet it feels like there's 5 or 6 teams that everybody thought were legitimate playoff contenders. They're already done.
Yeah.
We have a whole half a season to play.
You're right. Those teams that you just never see that kind of fall off with. We've seen that with. How about who the best team has been through 8 weeks, Ross?
For me, it's the New Orleans Saints. I don't feel like they're getting enough love. To me, they're the most balanced team. I mean, Drew Brees is obviously fantastic. They're running the ball a little bit more effectively. But the defense, I mean, Rob Ryan, much to my surprise, has totally turned that defense around. When you look at all the top contenders, Seattle's offense is up and down, Denver's defense is up and down. To me, the one team that has brought it every single week, I mean, they lost 1 game, which was kind of a fluke on the Tom Brady play late. I think the New Orleans Saints are the best team in football.
You know, I'm going to go with the 49ers. I know they stumbled early in the game in Seattle. They don't play well in Seattle, and they lost at home to the Colts. But they really got it going right now. And, you know, at some point, I know they hope to get Michael Crabtree back, which will really help Colin Kaepernick. I just really like the way the 49ers are playing. And, you know, I'm going to spin it forward here a little bit. I know we're talking about who's played the best so far. I think they're going to be the best team in the league by the end of the season.
You know what? I'll give one vote to the Bengals. I'm just going to give them a vote because they actually could be maybe the most talented team on both sides of the ball, and they do have quite a few impressive wins against plus 500
You're
teams.
that guy.
Yeah.
You're the guy that he wants to put that out now.
Just like,
in case the Bengals go and do something
back
good.
in. Exactly.
He wants to, play the tape back.
If they're playing at
MetLife,
MetLife
to say they're the best team.
That's it.
If they're playing at MetLife on February 2nd, you're going to have to replay that, right?
Then I get credit.
Nobody will remember.
You got it. That's right. I mean, these guys know me well now. Let me do a couple quick hits with you guys here. First coach to get fired, Gary.
I'm not sure that'll happen during the season, but because NFL teams tend not to fire coaches during the year. But I mean, I put Greg Schiano up here, and anybody else, a big step down.
You agree?
Any day.
Yeah. Okay.
Any day. It's inevitable.
It's an obvious
Yes.
one, right? Okay. Fair enough. And how about the first winless team to pick up a win, Ross? Who is it going to be?
It's going to be the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. It's got to be either the Bucs or the Jags at this point, and they're going to win one for the Schiano. Win one for the Jags. We haven't heard that rallying cry. Something tells me that the Bucs players aren't exactly saying rallying the troops to try to win a game for Greg Schiano.
Is that what they were putting on billboards in Tampa? I thought it was something different. Gary?
I mean, Jacksonville just hasn't been competitive, so you'd have to say Tampa would be the first team to win a game. But I'm going to go on the record right now and saying we'll get, for the first time in NFL history, 2 0-16 teams, so neither one of them is going to win a game this year.
Wow. I thought I was being bold with the Bengals, but now we know it's Gary Myers who's really the bold man on this set.